Kai Havertz's late intervention for Arsenal against Chelsea on Tuesday night could not have come at a better time. It was a match that was crying out for the German international, and he duly came on to settle the nerves for Mikel Arteta's team and the fans in the stadium. Now, plenty has been written about Viktor Gyökeres' struggles in North London and how he still seems a little out of sync with his teammates at Arsenal, so I don't feel a particular urge to add to the poor man's misery. But while I'm sure he feels perfectly comfortable and confident that he can turn things around at Arsenal, even he must be wondering whether his opportunity to really prove himself has come and gone now that Havertz is back in that team after a long and lengthy injury. Because not only is Havertz Arsenal's best goal scorer, but he's also a player who particularly improves Arsenal's best attacking players in the final third. And that, more than anything else, is what will matter between now and the end of the season. The manner in which Havertz has developed and come on leaps and bounds since moving from Chelsea for €75 million in 2023 is nothing short of remarkable. When he first joined the club, he was tasked as being this box-to-box midfielder, but as time has developed and as he has developed as an Arsenal player, he's become more and more of an expert and integral to Arsenal in the final third. Now, Arteta still absolutely plays him as a number 10 or on either wing, but to the surprise of Arsenal fans and many football fans back in Germany, he has developed and thrived as a centre-forward for the North London club in recent years. For example, when we filter all of Havertz's game time for Arsenal down to when he played as a centre-forward or striker in the Premier League, he gets a really impressive average of 0.49 goals per 90 minutes and 0.33 assists per 90 minutes of league football for Mikel Arteta's side. That's a very impressive return for the Aachen-born talent and considerably better than Gabriel Jesus' 0.7 goals and assists per 90, and, to no surprise, more than double Gyökeres' 0.37 goal contributions per 90 in the English top flight for Arsenal. In fact, as we can see from this graph, Havertz not only tends to create more goals than Arsenal's other strikers, but he also outscores them too. So in this sense, there really is no contest here. Kai Havertz is Arsenal's best striker, period, underlined, exclamation mark. However, we're not just talking about a player here who steps on the pitch, scores lots of goals, creates lots of goals, and then steals all the glory. What's really interesting and impressive about Havertz at Arsenal is that he clearly improves the players around him in that team, particularly Martin Ødegaard and Bukayo Saka. And that's clear when we take a look at the stats for both these players. Let's start with the Norwegian playmaker. Ødegaard hasn't been at his best by any form this season. Now, that's largely due to injury and the fact that he's maybe not quite up to full match fitness since returning from said injury. But it'll be really interesting to see going forward between now and the end of the season if we see an uptick in form now that Havertz is back in the starting 11. Since the towering German talent joined Arsenal, Ødegaard's form has varied wildly depending on whether Havertz is or isn't playing alongside him. So much so that without the German, Ødegaard has averaged 0.37 goals or assists per 90 in the Premier League, but with Havertz on the pitch alongside the blonde-haired playmaker, his average has shot up by 43% to 0.53 goals and assists per 90 minutes of league football. The same can absolutely be said of Bukayo Saka, who remains obviously a vital member of Mikel Arteta's squad, but is currently averaging his lowest goals and assists per 90 in the Premier League for the club since 2021. And that's in no small part due to the fact that Havertz has basically missed the entire league campaign to date. Much like Ødegaard, Saka's career goal contributions average stands at a perfectly respectable 0.51 per 90 in the Premier League without Havertz. But when we then isolate Saka's form when the German international is alongside him on the pitch, we see that number almost double to 0.91 goals and assists per 90. Now, none of this is to say that Havertz is some magician and suddenly Ødegaard and Saka play out their skin when they're playing alongside the German international, but I think it does maybe go some way to explaining why they obviously struggle when he's not in the team, and also why Gyökeres has really struggled to embed himself in the squad. Havertz and Gyökeres are not the same type of player. They play very different types of football. Gyökeres is a very clear striker. Havertz is an attacking midfielder who's developed into a striker. They both play different roles. They occupy different places on the pitch. And it's clear that when Havertz is on the pitch, Saka and Odegaard in particular thrive, and when it's Gyökeres, it doesn't quite work out that well. That's not me being particularly critical of Gyökeres or being some sort of Havertz fanboy, but I think it is important to contextualise everything that's happening right now. This season for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta is simply about getting over the line. It's about winning that league title, no matter how they do it. And I think in that regard, Havertz's return couldn't have come at a better time. The German international is Arteta's best goal scorer, and he does get the best out of both Odegaard and Saka, who have been struggling to reach their best form for the club this season. And that should be a welcome and crucial boost to the North London club as they approach the final stretch of the season and continue to challenge for this Premier League title.